Bob is really, I mean, this is going to sound trite, but Bob's crazy, you know? Just the fact that after we made the movie All Good Things with Ryan Gosling and Kirsten Dunst, that he reached out to us to talk to us. And then after we met him at the Peninsula Hotel in the bar there, and we sat for hours talking to him, he said, I want you guys to tell my story. Is considering what he did and what he knew he did was, I guess, unwise in some ways, and also a testimony to his level of psychopathy, or sociopathy, where he thought he was going to be smart enough to tell his story and not get caught, but nobody's that smart. Unfortunately, if you're telling your story, you're probably exposing yourself in a way that you probably don't even know that you're exposing yourself in. And that's sort of kind of what happened. And ultimately, there was a point when we were making it where I think he figured out that was happening. And he, I don't know how he figured it out. I think it was just because we wanted to do a second interview so badly, and our insistence that we wanted to do it made him suspicious. And I remember that we met with him to talk about doing the second interview, and he had told me he was going to go to Cuba on vacation. And he, within a month, and he couldn't do another interview until he came back from Cuba and blah, blah, blah. And okay, so he went off to Cuba and he came back. And then we did that second interview, and he started watching the show. And at some point he started, getting to 4, we're getting to 5, and he's on the road. Throws away his cell phone, he goes on the run, heads down to New Orleans. He's eventually caught by the feds down there because they're tracking him. They're watching the show too, obviously, and we've been talking to them for quite a while. You can watch that, I guess, in the second season. And then, come to find out he was going to Cuba. So he was sort of like a very intelligent guy, but he had a blind spot. He didn't understand the simple fact that he was putting himself in harm's way, that he'd gotten away with 3 murders. That doesn't happen a lot, and that he had put himself right in front of a truck.
So do you think he ever would have gotten caught if he never did
Oh, absolutely not.
He would have still been free to this day.
He also had a compulsion to confess, which I'm sure you've run into, and I've run into it quite a bit, where people have guilt. He was guilty. He's not a cold-blooded person. And I think he felt terrible about what he had done to Kathy and to Susan, and even to Morris, and it just was bubbling out of him. He just couldn't keep it down. His guilt was really pushing him to tell his story.